What's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, finally back again with a toy room tour. Now, I know I promised you guys this video a few months ago and I'm finally just getting around to it, so I apologize for that. I don't want to make this intro too long-winded, but I do need to get a couple disclaimers out of the way. I am a little bit sick, so if I sound nasally or my voice sounds funny, that's why, just is what it is. And also, if you hear a baby crying, screaming, or playing in the background, that's just my life now ever since having a kid, so, you know, apologies for that. I think that's pretty much it. Normally, we do the room tour starting with this back wall and kind of going this way and making our way around, but we're going to switch it up this time because I feel like the back wall has the least amount changed in the room compared to everything else. So we're actually going to start from the door and go this way first, and we'll finish with this back wall. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the toy room tour for April 2025. Alright, you guys, so here is a quick overlook of the room. I am standing at the front entrance right now. I'm in the very back corner of the room, so you can kind of see how everything is laid out. So yeah, a lot has changed in here. We're going to get to it because it's been a while since we've done a room tour. It's probably been about 6 months, which might be the longest that I've gone without doing a room tour. But I did just want to give just a quick overview of everything so you guys can see how everything is laid out. Now let me back into this back corner over here so you can see how all of this is all laid out. And then of course the back wall, I'll back into this corner back here so you guys can see, you know, this portion of the room and how everything else is laid out. So instead of going from right over here this way, we're going to start here and go to the left, just because I feel like there's a little bit more that's changed over there. I am using my phone as an external lighting source, as you guys can see, because the lighting on some of the areas of the room does suck. So right here behind the door, I have a stepladder, a chair, and a little tray table, just for easy access behind the door, because I do use all of that stuff a lot when I'm renovating the room, moving displays around, and everything like that. And then right over here, this Kingdom Hearts 3 fabric promotional poster from GameStop when that game originally came out. And then a Toys R Us shopping bag from what, at the time, the American Dream Toys R Us was the only Toys R Us in the world left. But there are a few more, not in the world, in the US I should say. There are a few more left though. And then right over here we have Link's Awakening HD promo poster right there. And then on the back of the door, this random hoverboard sign from Back to the Future. This was from Universal Studios. And then right over here I have this random Pillsbury Doughboy clock. I'm sorry if there was a weird edit there. My voice is just all kind of messed up, so there may be a few of that throughout the video. But a random Pillsbury Doughboy clock here that I got from the thrift store. It does not work, unfortunately. And then I have this wooden Four Nations map from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and this other random wooden Spider-Man comic book art right there. Now as we come to this little section of the wall here, this little section actually works perfectly to fit all of my premium Hot Wheels, as you guys can see. Not too many of them has changed, but it has been a while, so I'll give a close-up. But I did add a couple of new ones, which you guys will see here in a second, but I just want to pan through some of the old ones really quickly, just in case some of you are new. But this one is a new one, and it is a Hot Wheels skateboard that is designed like the hoverboard from Back to the Future, and the shoes that come included with it are slightly resembling the Nike Air Mags, so that is pretty cool. And then just to go through some of the other older ones here, and I do have one more new one that I had to put all the way at the bottom just because of the size of it. And it says Vintage Hot Wheel. I don't know the exact year. I think it's 97, and it's from Home Improvement, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. So that was really, really cool to find. Found that on eBay. Moving on, I do have this random WWE like little kids toy replica belt. I just literally got this in the mail, so I don't even know where I'm going to put it. I'm thinking about hanging it up right here, right above that NFL Blitz marquee, right in that empty spot. I just have to figure out how exactly I'm going to do that, but I think that's where this is going to go. I've been super into wrestling over the last couple years, so it's been great getting back into it and finding my love for wrestling. So we're going to go into the storage closet next. So this is literally what I said it is. It is a storage closet, but it's also kind of a display area as well. But with it being a storage closet, you'll see there are things on the floor. It is a little bit of a mess, but that's just how it is regularly. But besides actually storing stuff, I do have stuff on display. So I have basically all of my VHS clamshells, as you can see. We'll just kind of pan through all of that. And again, if anything is a mess or just out of the place, this is a storage closet at the end of the day that I just happen to display stuff in. So these are a majority of my VHS clamshells, and then some also like big box trilogy sets and whatnot on VHS, and then some more clamshells over this way. And then this random NBA Barbie that I had no other spot to put it, so I just randomly stuck it right there. And I have a couple of pieces of media in here. It's going to be hard to see, especially with me using my phone. Let me see if I can do this with one hand and kind of get that book out of the way. So I have a couple like random game manuals, a letter from Mattel when they sent me some stuff to review for them. Also Madball sent me some stuff to review, so I have that kind of hidden behind this Pokemon book. And then same thing up here. Let's see if I can get it out. I have some strategy guides, some old Toys R Us like flyers, and also a couple more stuff from companies that have sent me stuff to review. It's all kind of hidden behind this Pokemon book that I'll fix later that's on top of that flash drive. And then up here, unfortunately a lot of this stuff doesn't really get used so much anymore, but it's part of my board game collection. Back in like 2020, 2021, me and my friends were super heavy into board games, so I amassed a pretty big board game collection, but unfortunately we don't really play much of them anymore. But I don't know, I got so many different versions of Monopoly. I am trying to kind of see if I can sell some of these, phase them out, but yeah, that's my little board game collection that I have there. And then here is my Little Tykes CRT TV that I'm going to get the light out of the way for. Maybe I'll put it in, there we go. So Little Tykes CRT, I have Wu-Tang Shaolin style playing on the PS1 that is right over here. And then I have my Pokemon VCR Pikachu edition. You can see right there, Pikachu VCR. Can't believe I paid like 150 bucks for this thing, but it was definitely well worth it. And then here are my storage containers that have controllers, wires, cables for all different consoles, literally all my consoles. I'm not going to show off every single one of them. You guys can kind of take a peek in there. Yeah, literally everything in this room that I would possibly need, HDMI cables, micro USB, USB-C, charging cables, controllers, whatever is all in there. So I'm going to do some B-roll of this top shelf over here, but these are all just random Funko Pops. There's not really any like organization to them. They're all kind of like comic book characters or like movie characters over here. So it's just a random assortment of different Funko Pops, but like I said, you guys will be watching some B-roll of it now to give you guys a better close-up look of that. And then once we move on from there, we have this little corner over here. So I have a couple collectible basketballs. I have the NBA Jam basketball. I have a Pixar basketball right over there. And then I have this NFL Street Football that is sitting on top of my NFL Blitz Arcade 1-Up cabinet. Still one of my favorite cabinets in my collection. I love this cab so much. And I have this random Spider-Man Funko Blacklight poster right over there. And then this is my... it's a combination of stuff. It's my PlayStation collection, my overflow, my Xbox collection, some Sega Genesis stuff, and a lot of like VHS slipcovers. So I'll kind of go through it. We'll start top to bottom here. So first we have my Space Jam collection, as you guys can see over there. So a couple vintage toys, as well as some of the, well, actually pretty much all, I think, of the Funko Pops from the original Space Jam movie, as well as the remake, or new version, not a remake, but new version with LeBron. So there we go. I also have this vintage Space Jam tie right over here. So I just have that kind of draped off to the side. And then a bunch of other Space Jam stuff from the cassette tape, the Blu-ray, the VHS, the CD, the computer game, and then also a Jordan 8 Aqua retro card. And then over here, just a random assortment of controllers and stuff that I have on display. And then here is the PlayStation collection. So I'm not going to sit here and go through like each and every single one of these games, but I'll do a quick pan so you guys can see the games that I have. Nothing super crazy, not really like any crazy heavy hitters or anything like that, but a lot of games that I do enjoy playing. So going from PS2, we have PSP right over here, and then the rest of my PS2 overflow over there. I have the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar beef on cassette tape, because why not? I have this Eminem cassette tape from the Kamikaze album, Final Fantasy VII Remake little tin collector's thing right over there. And then going on from PSP, we move on to the PS3. And then here is the PS3 stuff. So I'm not going to go like super in depth with all this stuff because we'll be here all day. But then PS3 goes into PS4 and then PS5. And I have my PS1 stuff down here out of order just because this shelf here is specifically designed for CD cases. So it just made the most sense to put PS1 stuff right over there. And then I have a few like CDs and like actual albums and whatnot. So, like I said, I'm not going to go like too in-depth with all the video game collection, but if that is something you guys do want to see a close-up of, whether it's my, all of my PlayStation collection or something like that, I can do a dedicated video on that. Just let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, moving on, here is the rest of the PS5 stuff, and then Xbox overflow, because the rest of the Xbox stuff is on that side, which we'll get to. And then a couple of my Genesis games, and then pretty much my VHS slipcovers that are not the clamshells over in this section, right over there. So moving on, in this corner over here we have these random Star Wars posters that I picked up back in the day. I am still missing Return of the Jedi, unfortunately, but I have the other two. And then this 2K20 promotional poster from GameStop. That was like a store promotional poster that they kept in the window of the store, so that's pretty cool to have. And then here is my Pokemon section. So I have Pokemon, the first movie, and Pokemon 3, the movie, on VHS. I am missing Pokemon 2000, unfortunately. And then I have Pokemon Forever tucked away right over here. And then all of my Pokemon Funko Pops, which are quite a bit of them, at least all of Gen 1 that's been released so far. And then a couple of Gen 2 and Gen 3 and some of the other ones that they've thrown in there. And some other random Pokemon memorabilia, like this party, party favors thing, this magazine over here, a couple other magazines, coloring books, soundtracks, stationery sets. So a lot of cool little hidden things in there. Like I said, I'm not going to go too in detail with everything, but I will make dedicated videos on stuff if you guys are interested. And here's some of my more vintage Pokemon stuff over here. So a lot of the vintage figures, as well as like the Pokedex, the Game Boy, different like Happy Meal and Burger King, kids meal stuff, the Nintendo 64 Pikachu edition. So a lot of really cool stuff over here. And then moving down here, we have my Sega Genesis, or pretty much just Sega section, not specifically Genesis, but a majority of it is Genesis. So a lot of cool stuff over here. Sonic stuff, Streets of Rage, Altered Beast, Lego sets, Pez dispensers, a little bit of everything in here. Super Monkey Ball hidden in there. Really, really cool. And then moving down here, we have my PlayStation section. So a couple of the PlayStation mascots over here, as well as some boxed PlayStation items. So this one's actually still sealed, which is nice, the multi-tap for the PS1. And then moving over this way, what will we do? We'll start from top to bottom, I guess, and I'll give you guys some B-roll of the Funko Pops up here. Now these are, half of them are like all Michael Jordan. I have like almost all the Michael Jordan Funko Pops that have been released, and then the other half are just other basketball players, as well as like movie personalities, movie actors, and like rappers and musicians and whatnot. So there you go. And then my most recent addition is that Aaliyah Barbie doll that we have right there. I'm really, really excited to have that. But yeah, I really love this shelf over here. It's one of my favorites in the whole room. And then moving down from there, we have my Toy Story collection. So just a bunch of different Toy Story and a little bit of other like Pixar properties as well sprinkled in there. Just a bunch of different stuff from Toy Story, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, if you guys couldn't tell by the channel name. So I'll just do a quick pan through all of this, so you can see all the different Toy Story stuff that I have going on. A lot of stuff there. And then we have the command center over here. So this has pretty much all of these consoles that you'll see here all hooked up to the TV and ready to go. These are pretty much all like HDMI consoles. So Xbox One X, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, 360, PS4 Pro, PS3, another 360 over there. Original Xbox. I got a couple Wii's tucked in over here. Got 2 Wii's, a Wii Mini. I do plan to mod one of those Wii's, so maybe we'll do that in a future video. Super Nintendo over here, NES over here, another 360 over here. All of my classic consoles right over here that all are hacked and have hundreds and hundreds of games on each and every single one of them. So you guys can see that right over there. I do have a PS5, but it is in my bedroom currently because I spend more time in my bedroom with my child nowadays than I do in this room, so that just is what it is. So there we go with that section. And then we have this section over here, which is brand new. Pretty much a majority of this is new, actually. So we'll start right over here. I picked up this random TV at the thrift store not too long ago. It was like $5, and I figured, you know what, it's nice, it's small, it'll make a great display piece. So I put the TV there with a VCR under it, so I have Iron Giant playing right now. And then just because it fit perfectly, I have the Mega Bloks Xbox 360 just kind of chilling right over there. So that is new. I love this display over here. It can just play movies, and it's just a vibe when I have, you know, a game going on here and then a movie, you know, off to the side. I like it. I don't know. Then moving over here, we have my Sesame Street collection. So funny enough, now that my kid is getting into Sesame Street, so am I. I wasn't really into it as a kid growing up that much, but I don't know, Sesame Street just slaps as an adult. Some of the music goes really, really hard in Sesame Street. So it's a perfect time because now NECA has made these brand new Sesame Street figures, and it's really just perfect timing. So we have Ernie over here, we have Bert over here. I also picked up the Big Bird Funko Pop, and then a couple of, you know, VHS tapes and a wooden sign from SeaWorld. And we have the letter C and the letter A. Eventually we'll get the N and the E for NECA. And then I also have this vintage little digital, not digital camera, but like a film camera that I picked up at the thrift store. That's a Sesame Street camera. And that's my little Sesame Street section. So that is really, really cool. One of my favorite parts of the room at the moment. And then I moved my Toys R Us section. It used to be over there, right above the Target section, but I actually moved it right over here. And I don't know, I got too much Toys R Us stuff. I really need a second shelf for Toys R Us because I have so much of it. But nothing is new here. It's all the same stuff. I just condensed everything into this one section over here. And coming down over here is my wrapper shelf. So, oh man, I wish Super 7 will make more of these wrapper figures. Right now we only have Biggie and ODB, but I really would love a whole line of these wrapper figures. So for now, this is the little section here. So I have some Wu-Tang stuff, some Biggie stuff, a couple CDs here, the sign that says Presidents Are Temporary, Wu-Tang is Forever, and then the Notorious movie with the Funko Pops. So yeah, this little section over here, but I really, really love these figures. So I really wish Funko would do something else with this line. Or not Funko, Super 7, sorry. And then I moved my Blockbuster shelf down a couple spots. There's absolutely nothing new here, but if you guys are new, here is a quick pan through everything. So there you go. So moving on from that, we have this corner over here. Now all this stuff on the floor is kind of like my to-do list. So it's some new pickups that I have to put on display. So let me put the flash. Hold on, let me see how I'm gonna do this. I guess we'll do it like that. So I have this Black Series figure here. It's been a while since I picked up Black Series, but for $12 on clearance at Walmart, I couldn't pass up on that. And then more Black Series stuff that I got at Target on clearance for 10 bucks. So I got that one. And then I have this Darth Maul hologram figure right here as well. So that was another 10 bucks at Target. And then I have, oh man, it's kind of hard to fit it in the frame, but we got Kino right here from the Ninja Turtles 2 movie. This is the NECA figure here. So that's just recent pickups that I have to kind of make spot for on my shelves, and then like a couple stuff I have to sell, and my toes that you guys just saw. And actually, before we move on to that section over there, let's go ahead and get into the middle section over here. I completely forgot about that. So you have my Aladdin rug, which I'm so glad that I found this a couple years ago when I did at Target, because ever since, it's been impossible to find. You literally cannot find this anywhere. So it's crazy that such an awesome rug, they only made it for like a limited amount of time. But then I have a couple like magazines and stuff right here, like gaming magazines, sports magazines and whatnot. Then up here I have this glass Monopoly set, but I finally ended up covering it up because I just need a room. So I put my Lego DeLorean. I finally found a spot for it. As you can see, I put it right over there. And then I have the Jada toys. I forgot what they're calling this, like the Micro Town or something like that. But I got the Hill Valley from Back to the Future. So you got the clock tower and everything. So this set's really, really cool. I didn't have a chance to do a review on it, but man, this is a really, really great set. So moving on from that, we'll get into this section over here, and this is all of my Nintendo games as well as Xbox, the beginning of my Xbox stuff. So again, just a quick pan through everything. If you guys want a more like in-depth look, just let me know. And then a Kirby shopping bag that was a collaboration with Target a couple years back. But yeah, that is some of my Nintendo stuff. Different collectibles, different figures and whatnot. And then the games, obviously in order, from Nintendo NES to Super Nintendo to Nintendo 64 to GameCube to Switch to Wii U to regular Wii. I don't know why I said Switch. I meant to say from GameCube to Wii. I'm running out of breath, guys, man. It is bad being sick trying to do these videos, so, you know, forgive me, but here is some of the stuff that you can see right over here. So we got that, and then A couple like DS games, 3DS. Don't have a ton, but a little bit. And some Dreamcast stuff and some other Genesis titles over here. And then here's a quick pan through. Like I said, if you guys want a close-up of anything, let me know and I'll do dedicated videos. But there you go. The rest of my original Xbox, Xbox 360, and the start of my Xbox One section. And coming over to this side, I have my Xbox mini fridge right over there. And then some more arcade 1-ups, which you guys should be all familiar with. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Street Fighter, and Final Fight arcade 1-ups. Nothing new over here, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. And then coming over here, we have my X-Men for the CDI. This is like an interactive movie type of thing, so that was a really cool thrift store find. And here are some, or pretty much not some, these are all of my original Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, 3DS, DS, all loose games and whatnot over here. So there we go. And this custom game that Christina had made for me for Father's Day. It's not an actual game, it doesn't work, it's just like a little display piece. And then, moving on, we'll go to the top shelf. Why not? Actually, no, we can't, because how are we going to skip my amazing domino sign? So I did a whole restoration video on this, and it looks great. It works great. My house has not caught on fire yet, so I did something right with the wiring work on here. And it's just a really, really cool display piece. Fits perfectly on the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade 1-up. And really just illuminates the room. It's kind of hard to tell because it's daytime right now. But you can see a little bit how that red and blue kind of pop off the blinds right there. So yeah, really, really happy that I picked this up for free. My neighbor was throwing it away. And it's just a really cool display piece in the toy room, so why not, right? Anyways, moving up to this top shelf, I'll do some B-roll so you guys can see it better. And it is my Jurassic Park section. So nothing has really changed up here, but again, if you guys are new here and want to see a close-up of everything, here you go. Here's my Jurassic Park section. I love Jurassic Park. There is nothing like that Jeep and that Ford Explorer, some of my favorite cars of all time. Favorite movie cars of all time as well. The DeLorean is #1, but I think that Ford Explorer is right behind it. And moving on from that, we have this section over here, and this is not new at all, but if you guys are new here, this is my Pixar cars collection, just a random assortment of stuff, nothing, you know, too crazy with that. This random Captain America poster that I found at the thrift store, along with my original NFL Blitz marquee. I did a replacement marquee on it, so that is the extra piece that I had right there. Some random handhelds over here, kind of like a purplish gray aesthetic right there, so we have that. And then Men in Black on Laserdisc and Rocky 3 vinyl soundtrack. And these guys are new. I did a video on them recently, and that is the latest series of Mad Balls. So Mad Balls was cool enough to send me all of these guys, and I love them. Didn't really have a proper way to display them, so I just kind of lined them up across this CRT over here. And you know what? It worked out perfectly. They fit just perfect along the CRT. So honestly, they may stay there. And I had Tony Hawk playing on this CRT. I don't know if the game just rebooted or what, but I don't know why nothing's on the screen right now. Okay, so for some reason Tony Hawk wasn't working, so I threw on some Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer. So anyways, moving on, we have this CRT right over here, and this other CRT, so I got two CRTs. This is what I do basically all my gaming on, and it is an Advent CRT. I think it's somewhere around like 19 inches if I'm not mistaken. It has S-Video, so everything on here looks absolutely incredible. It's probably not coming out on camera too well, but everything on that CRT looks amazing. And then this CRT is a Samsung GX, so you guys have seen this before. It's got the... Let me see if I can do this one-handed. It's got the doors that have speakers built into them, and they actually fold open and reveal the actual TV. So I had this in my childhood, and then I went back years ago and ended up picking one up locally here. And yeah, I'm just in love with it. It's not the best looking CRT. It is one of the best sounding. The sound system on here is amazing, but the screen is very small. The colors aren't the best. So as far as gaming on here, but you know, watching movies and stuff while I'm gaming at the same time, it's a great combo. Then some other stuff I have down here, let's bring out the light for. So I have another Super Nintendo down here, Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, a Dreamcast, a PS1, not the PlayStation 1, but a PS1, GameCube over here with the Game Boy Player, PS2, PS2 Slim, Atari 2600, and a random Mitsubishi VCR right over there. And then coming up here, my Oculus Quest. This is the original version 1, and I haven't played it in a while, and I was actually really upset when recently I got the urge to play it, and realized they don't support it anymore. So none of the games can be updated, nothing can be downloaded for it. So essentially, it's just a paperweight now. So it's like, I don't know, maybe eventually I'll get the MetaQuest 3 that's out, but for now I got this paperweight, you know, VR headset right over here. Here are all my connections for S-Video and whatnot that are plugged into the TVs. And then this random Doctor Strange Blacklight Funko poster, and then you guys saw this already. So moving down over here, it's kind of hard to see in this corner, but some random stuff over here, some random DVDs and display stuff over here. A bunch of old like phones and VHS tapes and Blu-rays and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to get in there, but there you go. And then this random blue shelf, I call it. So I have like Thanos, my GameCube, a Game Boy, a Switch Lite. So just a couple of random like aesthetic stuff on this shelf. And really it's just all random stuff. I got some Turtles figures, a couple of different Game Boys over here, some VHS tapes, you know, Game & Watches, Nintendo DS lights. Up here I got a CD player, a PSP, a micro hits clips thing or whatever. So just a bunch of random stuff. And then up here some Power Ranger stuff. And now we get to this back wall, which again, not too much has changed, but if you're new, I will go through it. So we'll start with the top over here. So I did swap out some of the Fast and the Furious cars. Two new ones, or I think the only new one that I got now that I'm looking at it, is the Porsche GT3 RS. This is from Fast 5, also known as the Papa Smurf Porsche. So there we go. I think that's the only thing that's new up here. I got rid of Fox Body Mustang that I had that was not part of Fast and the Furious. And I think everything else is the same, so just a quick pan through. We'll do the Fast and the Furious cars first. Let me go left to right just because they're in chronological order. So I have this train set. This is like the micro towns or whatever that the Back to the Future was. So we have the train scene right over here, the Toretto house right over here, Fast and the Furious on VHS. And then here are all of the cars. So they are in order chronologically. So here we go. I think I have all of the ones that I've released that I would want. I think I'm still missing maybe one or two, but I have pretty much everything else. I have Brian, let me see if we can focus, there we go, as a Lego minifigure. And Suki's coming out too, so I need to get that in the summer. I think in June Suki comes out. But there you go. Alright, back at it. So here we go. We got some of my Megazords over here. This is just a random assortment of like big things that didn't fit anywhere else that I just put up here. So nothing really flows together. It is just a random assortment of stuff that I am going to pan through. As you guys can see, Throttle pin right here. I love watching Throttle, one of my favorite YouTube channels. So yeah, just again a random assortment of stuff. My Back to the Future hoverboard, and then if we come over this way, we have the tuna shop, the Toretto sandwich shop or whatever from the first movie as well. If the camera would focus, it's having a hard time, but you guys get the idea. And then some more art and whatnot up here, posters, newspapers, you know, nothing too crazy with that. So we'll move back over this way, and we have my Power Rangers section. Again, nothing has changed here, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But here we go with my Power Rangers section. Kind of give a little close-up of everything. And I'll give a close-up up here as well, because I didn't do that before. So close-up there. Close-up over here, the Red Ranger shelf, or the Forever Red shelf. We got that. And then a bunch of other Power Ranger figures over here. Some VHS tapes. Let me move the door for this TV. We'll close that so we can see everything. So a couple more Power Ranger stuff here. And then we got my villains section here. It's such a shame that the Lightning collection died. It was such a good line. And then down here we have all of my like McDonald's Happy Meal stuff. It's kind of unfinished. You can see I have stuff kind of stacked up and whatever. I'm just kind of running out of space with that. And not sure if I want to continue with that shelf or not. And then moving over here. It's all Turtles. It's all the same. It's nothing new, except for Tatsu. So he's the only new thing on the shelves. But I'll kind of give a quick little glimpse and pan through. I do need more space for these guys. You just can't really see them too well. So I got to come up with something. And then we got the cartoon Turtles, which honestly, like, I enjoyed collecting them. I stopped collecting them because they just NECA releases way too many figures for this line. And I just financially couldn't keep up with it. And now I'm just kind of over the line. So I don't know. I think I may get rid of, you know, I may just keep the Turtles and maybe like, you know, Casey and a Foot Soldier and Shredder. But like all these other random bad guys and side people and all that, like I'm kind of ready to let go of them and part ways with them. Especially like a lot of the guys on this shelf, as iconic as they are. I'm just kind of over them at this point because I kind of reached my limit with the line and I'm not going forward. So I don't know, it just takes up a lot of space. I got 3 turtle shelves at the moment. And I don't know, I'm thinking about getting rid of at least the cartoon turtles for sure. I definitely want to keep the movie turtles, but get rid of the cartoon turtles and just, I don't know, create a new display with something else. Kind of been fighting with that recently, so we'll see, you know, what happens. Down here's the Nintendo shelf. Nothing new on here. Maybe this one winged suit Mario that's flying, but everything else is pretty much the same. So I'll just give a quick pan through all this stuff right here. And then the rest of like my different Nintendo and like Super Smash Brothers characters down here. And then this random like Burger King shelf to kind of pair up with my Happy Meal shelf. Again, not sure if that's something I'm going to keep. Probably going to get rid of it at some point, but for now it's there. Over here we got my Avatar shelf. Nothing new here, but I still really love these shelves. Avatar is my favorite show of all time, so yeah, definitely a huge Avatar fan. But nothing new, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it because it's kind of repeated from the last videos, so you guys can see all of that. And my Star Wars shelves, I got to redo. I still got all these guys that have fallen down back here. I got new figures, so I got to make space and rearrange some stuff. So I'll get to that eventually. But here's all the different Storm and Clone Troopers, and then different heroes and villains over here. Not gonna spend too much time on this, but a quick glimpse of everything. And then down here, even more Star Wars stuff. So I was really into Black Series, but I got kind of, you know, priced out of it because they were releasing so many figures, and then nowadays it's like you don't even see Black Series stuff anywhere. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but that's where I'm at. And then running out of breath. Sucks doing this sick. But anyways, moving on. Back to the Future. Again, nothing new, but here is everything I have for Back to the Future. I'm just gonna pan through all this really quickly because you guys have pretty much seen all of this before, but just in case, you know, you're new or you haven't. There we go. So Back to the Future stuff right over there. More Back to the Future stuff right over here. So all of that. This little TV actually plays scenes from the movie, which is pretty cool. And then yeah, this is mostly all DeLorean stuff on this shelf. And then this is what I got rid of the Toys R Us shelf for, and that is all of my new Street Fighter figures. Now these figures are absolutely sick by Jada Toys, and this is one of my favorite lines out right now. I mean, these figures are detailed, they are articulated, they look like they jump straight out of the video game. I mean, look at that pose on DJ. You really cannot get any better than that with his little, you know, effect right there. Man, these figures, I am so happy. I can't wait for the rest of the line. The only complaint I have with them, and that's the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Evo Ryu back there, but the only complaint I have with them is that they're hard to find. I don't find them at Target or Walmart. I have to find them at my, you know, local, you know, like toy store, like I don't know what you want to call it, but like comic book store, if you will. And they're a little bit more pricey there than I would get them for at Target or Walmart, but you know, for how amazing these figures are, I don't mind paying the like $4 or $5 extra for these guys. So really love that. And moving down to the last couple shelves, we have my Target shelf, which has not changed. So again, just a quick pan through all of my Target stuff. So we got that right there. And then some random 80s figures, so like Rocky, Rambo, Ghostbusters, RoboCop. Nothing too crazy, but I really love these Rocky figures from NECA. Really wish they would make more of them. And then the Ecto-1 right there. And then some Hot Wheels, which I'm not going to spend time on, but they are all like color coordinated. Kind of hard to see, but yeah. So there we go. Alright you guys, so there is the toy room tour for April 2025. This was a tough video to get through. I am struggling. I have like no voice right now. I really shouldn't have done this while I'm under the weather, but it is what it is. You guys definitely were long overdue for getting this video from me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all that social media stuff is down in the comments below. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. So as always, guys, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.